there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. She says WNBA...
In the age of viral content, it doesn't take much to start a wildfire. A misquote, a fake meme, a few thousand shares. Before long, misinformation can outrun the truth, turning respected figures into targets and sparking debates built on fiction. That's exactly what happened in a recent string of controversies surrounding prominent sports voices like Jemele Hill, Stephen A. Smith, and Patrick Bet-David. What began as a completely fabricated statement about Angel Reese being the Michael Jordan of the WNBA led to real-world backlash. Not just online, but on major platforms where the line between commentary and clickbait is increasingly blurred. At the center of this misinformation storm stood Jemele Hill, a seasoned journalist and former ESPN host, blindsided by a flood of online hate. For days, she'd been getting inundated with vitriolic responses on social media, many laced with racism, sexism, and personal attacks. But here's the kicker. She never said the thing that had people so enraged. The now viral quote knew that Angel Reese would be the
WNBA.
She said about Angel Reese?
She said Angel Reese, by the time she retires, can you pull up this quote? She said, by the time she retires, she will be the MJ of, go to Jemele Hill, type in Jemele Hill, yeah. She says, by the time she retires, Jemele Hill has made a bold prediction that Angel Reese will become the MJ of the WNBA by the time she retires. That's what she said. Okay. Let me continue.
The Michael Jordan of the WNBA was completely made up. No interview, no podcast, no tweet. Just a fake post that spread like wildfire, fueled by engagement algorithms and audiences looking for outrage. Hill, puzzled by the sudden wave of hate, did her own digging. What she found was alarming. Her name attached to a meme being shared across Facebook and Twitter, citing a quote she never gave. There were no sources, no video, no credible attribution. Just raw, fabricated clickbait, designed for virality, and it worked. Even Patrick Bet-David, the host of Valuetainment, referenced it in his show, using the quote to spark conversation and spark reactions. Jemele responded publicly, directly calling it out. Someone posted comments I never made. They literally made it up. It was purely untrue clickbait. I don't know who this host is, but Stephen A. Smith, you've got to know better. Her post wasn't angry, it was tired. A reminder that even experienced journalists with long careers built on credibility aren't safe from the way misinformation travels online, especially when it's used to feed cultural debates about race, gender, and sports. But this incident was only the beginning. What followed was another viral moment, just as fake and even more absurd, involving Brittney Griner and a satirical quote that somehow made it into a national conversation. As if the internet hadn't already done enough damage with one false quote, it struck again. This time with a post even more outlandish.
Well, thousands of them just sitting there watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. She says WNBA games used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done. But now, it's like there's large gatherings of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score, like we're there for their entertainment. You are! The whole thing is toxic. I saw a guy with his daughter in the crowd, both of them yelling, couldn't hear what they were saying exactly, but it was either my performance or some light racism. But here's where I'm going with this.
Attributed to WNBA star Brittney Griner.
They're saying
in a
this
meme
year
that quickly made the rounds on social media and ended up getting dissected on Patrick Bet-David's Valuetainment show, Griner was falsely quoted as saying something so bizarre, so caricatured, that it almost sounded like a parody of elitism. WNBA games used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done. But now it's like there's large gatherings of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score, like we're there for their entertainment. The whole thing is toxic. I saw a guy with his daughter in the crowd, both of them yelling. Couldn't hear what they were saying exactly, but it was either about my performance or some light racism. Definitely one of the two. It didn't take much for this completely fake quote to light a fire. Presented with no source, no verified publication, no video or audio, yet once again, it was being treated like a legitimate opinion from a real athlete. And the result? Griner was mocked, slammed, and criticized for supposedly whining about the very thing the WNBA had been fighting for: fan engagement. On Valuetainment, host Patrick Bet-David treated the quote as real and launched into a tirade. He questioned how a player like Griner, someone who had once sat in a Russian prison, whose freedom had made international headlines, could complain about noise at a basketball game. Stephen A. Smith joined the commentary with similar disbelief, pointing out that fans yelling in the stands is literally every sport ever. That's just how it works. Neither host seemed to question the authenticity of the quote. But here's the twist: Griner never said any of it. It was, again, complete fabrication. The meme appears to have originated from a satirical or troll page online, the kind that posts exaggerated quotes designed to inflame culture wars and drive clicks. And once again, there was no verification, no legitimate news outlet, and no journalistic source behind it. And yet, this false quote formed the basis of a multi-minute debate on a high-profile media platform, treated as if it were legitimate commentary on the state of women's sports. The result? Griner, like Jamili Hill, was dragged through the mud for something she didn't actually say, turned into a talking point for an audience that was already skeptical or hostile toward the WNBA's recent rise in visibility. The irony couldn't be clearer. For years, fans and players had begged for more attention for women's basketball, but now that the spotlight was finally on, thanks in large part to Caitlin Clark's star power, bad faith actors were using that attention to sow division, using completely false quotes to pit players against fans or each other. What we're witnessing isn't just a debate about women's basketball, it's a case study in misinformation. How fake content masquerading as fact can worm its way into legitimate discourse, influence public opinion, and muddy the waters on important cultural shifts. And in this particular case, it hijacked a serious conversation about race, gender, fandom, and the economics of sports, reducing it to meme warfare and digital hearsay. In just one interview, two viral lies, one about Jamili Hill, another about Brittney Griner, shaped the tone of a national discussion without a single fact check in sight. And the question lingers. In a world where content is king and speed trumps truth, how many more false narratives are we going to swallow before we stop to verify what we're even arguing about? As the fog of fake quotes cleared and the studio moved past the digital debris of meme wars, the Valuetainment interview took a more grounded, and more important, turn. This wasn't just about misinformation anymore. It was about the very real tension brewing beneath the surface of the WNBA, a conversation long overdue, and Caitlin Clark was now at the center of it. Stephen A. Smith, known for his sharp-tongued sports analysis, pivoted from refuting falsehoods to addressing something far more serious: the resentment Caitlin Clark is facing from her WNBA peers. According to Smith, what Clark is experiencing isn't just tough rookie treatment or competitive fire. It's targeted, and it has very little to do with her basketball ability. "She's a white girl," Smith said plainly. "She came from Iowa, and she's getting all the attention, all the camera time, all the endorsements, and that has rubbed a lot of players the wrong way." It was a moment of clarity, raw, uncomfortable, but necessary. Caitlin Clark, the NCAA's all-time leading scorer and one of the most hyped rookies in WNBA history, has brought millions of new eyes to the league. Sold-out arenas, national broadcasts, increased jersey sales. Yet, some of her fellow players aren't welcoming her with open arms, and some fans are beginning to notice. Smith wasn't just theorizing, he was observing a pattern. Hard fouls, cold shoulders, veiled comments in press conferences. The kind of pushback that goes beyond welcome to the league and into something more complicated, something rooted in identity, history, and visibility. Caitlin Clark is a white woman in a league that is predominantly black and has been historically underfunded, undercovered, and disrespected by mainstream sports media. So, when a young white player becomes the media darling almost overnight, it doesn't just feel like a new era. To some, it feels like a slap in the face. Like years of hard work, community building, and basketball excellence were overlooked, until someone who looked different came along. And yet, Smith made an impassioned argument. Caitlin Clark is not the villain here. She didn't ask for the media frenzy, she didn't create the endorsement deals, she didn't control the cameras or the headlines. What she did do was play brilliant basketball, and in doing so, captured the hearts of millions. And according to Smith, the WNBA should be embracing her, not icing her out.